Apparently, I say that twice because there's a rumor out there, talk of the town, although very unlikely, but I think a great talking point out there. The future of esports and a potential draft coming across many established esports has been talked about recently in most recent news thanks to UMG. I love the work they do over there. I will link the original video down below for all of you guys as they talked about potential leaks around a Call of Duty draft system. Now, I want to talk about this. It kind of extended to other esports as well. Super curious what you guys think about this, but mostly the possibility of a draft coming to Call of Duty and why I think it's very unlikely, as many of us can probably agree upon. But it's not the first time we've actually heard talks about a draft coming to an esport, because we've actually seen 2K in collaboration with the NBA, that partnership there, they ran their own player draft, all in all the same way NBA as well as NFL, or of course MLB do their drafts. They did the same thing as well, and it was very cool to see. But now the question is drawn to more established esports. Now, I'm not trying to knock on NBA 2K, obviously been around for quite some time, but in the esports scene has only most recently been established as well. And I think okay to say that many contracts over in 2K are likely not as long or high salaried as other traditional sports out there, that being Call of Duty, CSGO, League, Overwatch, so on and so forth. And likely many of the reasons out there we're going to touch on as to why this probably will not happen for other esports out there, besides maybe 2K or other games out there like Madden being affiliated with a bigger franchise, that of the NFL or the NBA already. So it made a lot of sense for 2K to do their own player draft. But we have seen this before in a bigger esport, that being the Overwatch League. Before it was established, actually over a year ago for season 1, there were rumors and talks about a potential player draft incoming because it's a fresh start for pro players, right? No contracts being signed, no salaries being established as of then, and even that did fall through. Those rumors have been ever since quelled. We're currently in season 2 of Overwatch League and yet to see a more established esport out there besides that of 2K to really take on this draft policy, and likely because I'm sure many of you guys are aware of this and think of this as your number one reason, that being established player contracts and the incredibly high buyouts it would take to make everyone a free agent in order to start a draft as a fresh reset, having each and every team an equal opportunity at each and every player. So 2K has done their actual official draft and Overwatch did talk about it. There's definitely a thought about this being a potential thing, if not for the current esport, maybe for the future of esports. If some franchise wants to buy out all those player contracts or deal with all the legality issues around that, you know, you can imagine what some of these Call of Duty players are going to draw in terms of buyouts or how long their contracts might be. When you look at the Optic guys and of course the freshly signed FaZe guys, I'm not going to pretend like I'm huge into the CWL right now, but we do know of the higher value players out there, they're going to be signed for higher amounts and longer amount of times than likely a 2K contract is. But to say that even then, it has been talked about and could be a thing in the future if they can come up with a way around this. But of course right now as well, we look at things like the Overwatch League, most recently announced, you know, the first 5 franchises for Call of Duty as well being in different cities and sometimes even countries around the world. Besides player contracts having to be dealt with these current rosters, you then look at 2 separate issues, that being one, player chemistry. Amongst the history of Call of Duty, CSGO, other leagues as well, you have players who have played with each other and also players who have refused to play amongst each other. But what is to stop an organization slash franchise during this supposed draft from just drafting the highest value players for future trading? Again, I'm no Call of Duty pro quite yet when it comes to player chemistry, but we definitely know of many players out there who should not be playing with one another. What's to stop that team from saying, hey, you're a high value player, I know you don't get along with this high valued player, but I'm going to get more value out of you in terms of trading future wise, so I'm going to sign both of you and have a team of probably 5 very unchemistry liked players, but they are the highest value players. When you have a top pick, you're not going to waste it on someone who gets along with another one of your players. And besides that, I think even more important point out there as well, when it comes to CWL, the future of Call of Duty franchising, you not only have established cities, you now have established different countries. What's to say a player actually wants to move to Canada or move across the ocean just to play Call of Duty for a team he likely, or an organization he did not want to be in from the very start? So with all of that being said, super curious what you guys think about this. I think it's so unlikely, but I will say, given the thought of it, 2K doing it, Overwatch League thinking about it as well, and now apparently Call of Duty maybe thinking about it on top of that, it's definitely a thought for the future of esports and maybe for a fresh esport, right? An esport that takes off right from the start, maybe a new one for the, the kind of the big 5 we have currently. If one does take off and all of a sudden from the very start they want to have a draft idea, I'm fully with it. I totally understand this could be a very fun concept. It would be a very, very fun day or week-long event, however long you want to make it, to see your favorite teams try and pick and choose players that either are their highest value or players that maybe go best together. It'd be very cool to see if these teams end up eventually being what they currently are, because let's say you sign 5 high-value players, but you want to trade away and have the roster you did before the draft even happens, right? You want to have a roster full of chemistry like like players, but you wanted to draft, some higher value players just for the fun of it, would these rosters end up being what they currently are today in the end anyway? Maybe, but the day of draft would still be so fun to watch and understand that. But for as of right now, with those reasons being said, existing contracts, that was the reason why Overwatch League did not do it. It was just too hard of a workaround. Along with that, of course, you have player chemistry, if players are even going to want to play with each other. And then very lastly, relocation of these players for an esport like Call of Duty. Would they really want to risk that to play for a team they maybe wouldn't want to before? I think those are three things dead against this system for right now. Is it a possibility in the future? Certainly could be. Is it feasible right now? Most likely not.